Can you explain the purpose of breathing to all of us?
Yes, as human beings, what do we survive on? We eat food, we drink water, and we breathe air. And when oxygen meets with the food that we eat, it generates energy. So the powerhouse, the human organism, is fueled by the air that we breathe and the food that we eat. And in essence, it's as simple as that.
Well, what we're going to learn today from you, and one of the reasons why I am so excited to talk to you, is that while breathing is really simple, most of us are doing it incorrectly. And so I would love to start with, how are we supposed to breathe and what are we doing wrong?
Yes, it's a good question. We would have been breathing correctly for hundreds and thousands of years. And breathing is very delicate. It's very susceptible to change. It's very susceptible to the food that we eat, the lifestyle that we lead, the trauma, the stress that we experience, the excessive talking, the sedentary lifestyle, the office-based jobs. Many factors influence breathing. And for some of us, we're more prone to developing poor breathing patterns than others. And very often it becomes a habit. And we have to think of it's such a vital function. Earlier on we spoke about how important breathing is, and we as human beings, we can live without air for just a few minutes. And the importance of a function is determined by how soon the organism perishes when we switch it off. So it must meet certain criteria. And people often talk about the quality of air that we are breathing, be out in the countryside, be at the seaside, don't be breathing polluted air. But what about the quantity? What about how we breathe? Breathing should be subtle, it should be light, and breath should be undetectable. The perfect person breathes as if they do not breathe. Your breathing should be so smooth that the fine hairs within the nostrils do not move. And if you look at the breathing of a healthy person, their breathing is nose, it's light, it's slow, and it's low. And it's pretty much undetectable. And if they do physical exercise, their breathing is pretty light for the given intensity of physical exercise they are doing.
So maybe we should start with, what are we doing wrong? What do you want us to know about that?
Well, the foundation of breathing is breathing in and out through the nose, Mel. When I'm working with anybody, I'll always ask, what does your mouth do when it comes to breathing? And if you breathe through your mouth, what part of the body moves? So if you look down at your chest, and if you take a breath through the mouth,
okay,
and as you breathe through the mouth, you'll notice that your breathing is faster and your breathing is more upper chest.
Yes, I can't get it down.
So if you, during rest or during physical exercise, breathe in and out through your nose, you're going to increase not only oxygen uptake, but also oxygen delivery to the working muscles and tissues and organs, including the brain. We can influence the blood flow to the brain by changing our breathing patterns. And it's not about taking the full big breath. Other factors that you wouldn't consider are visual-spatial awareness. So throughout our evolution, if we, for example, we were in a wide open space, we had to be able to see what was ahead of us, but also to scan the environment for predators. And that's higher with nasal breathing versus mouth breathing. Memory and attention is higher with nose breathing versus mouth breathing. There's greater recruitment of the diaphragm, and the diaphragm breathing muscle isn't just for respiration, but it provides stabilization for the spine. So 50% of people with lower back pain have dysfunctional breathing. And as you breathe through your nose, you spoke about bronchitis. We have to think of the gas called nitric oxide. When we think of the hundreds of thousands of people with asthma and bronchitis and bronchiectasis and COPD and different respiratory illnesses, why are we leaving them breathe through their mouths? And nobody seems to be telling them, breathe through your nose.